Jackson, Tennessee, get ready to kick your summer off with a laugh as Highland Avenue Comedy brings the funny to Hub City Brewing Company June 6th at 8 p.m. Get ready for a night of nonstop laughs with some of the best comedians around. Whether you're out with friends or planning the perfect date night, you don't want to miss this show. Tickets are only $10, and you can get yours now at HubCityEvents.com and come enjoy some great drinks, great vibes, and even better comedy. Highland Avenue Comedy at Hub City Brewing Company June 6th at 8 p.m. Be there!
Hey now, what's up?
Hey, we're going live. We are here. I am Tojo Yamamoto, and I didn't know if you were going to do any kind of an intro, Gene. Obviously, folks, we're live. Listen, this is a special edition of Live from the Archive, as we are going to pay tribute tonight. We found out today that Memphis lost, and the wrestling world lost another legend, Phil Hickerson from Jackson, Tennessee. All of us that do all of this Memphis stuff and Dallas stuff, because, of course, as P.Y. Chu-Hi, he was not our favorite person, unless you sat in Section D. Now, I sat in Section D, but I was not a heel guy. So I liked P.Y. Chu-Hi. Obviously loved Tojo. We lost another legend today, Gene.
Yeah, you know, I had heard a few weeks back that Phil had been in poor health for quite some time now. In fact, as far back as 2 years ago, when Randy Hills was planning the Memphis Hall of Fame event in Jackson, Tennessee, along with Terry Golden. Of course, Jackson, Tennessee, the backyard of Phil Hickerson. Phil went in back in 1995, the very first class of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Phil was inducted, and rightfully so. But of course, you know, being Jackson, Randy wanted to get Phil there, and even then, his health would not allow for him to come across town, and so he's held out for quite a while. But man, it's kind of strange because we're exactly 2 months to the day, March 20th, 2026. Dennis Condry passed away May 20th, 2026. His longtime tag team partner in the Bicentennial Kings, an underrated tag team. I think because there's not as much footage that exists of those guys in their heyday as there is of the Midnight Express. You know, people more, and you know, hey, nothing against people who are fans of Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condry, Midnight Express, love those guys. But I think if there was more footage out there, Rob, a lot more people would have a bigger appreciation for just how great a tag team Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condry was in their time.
Well, this is a tribute. So I've picked out some stuff I want us to watch, and you get to look at. And you just mentioned it, putting them together, a young Phil Hickerson and a young Dennis Condry together. Let's take a look at it as they take on Kevin Sullivan and some other dude.
Much less, the first match on today's program will be a 1-4 match with a 15-minute time limit, a tag team match. First of all, from Massachusetts, weighing 230 pounds, Kevin Sullivan. And from Tennessee, weighing 220 pounds, Ted Allen.
Ted Allen. Do we know Ted Allen pretty well?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
By Ron Wright,
all right.
Tennessee connection, with a combined weight of 540
Managed
pounds.
by Ron Wright.
Dennis Condry and Phil Hickerson. 1 fall, 15-minute time limit. Your official is Tommy Weathers.
Condry and Hickerson.
Oh, he's
We're going to look at what Paula just talked about. We're going to look at that.
You see right with the arm in the sling strapped to his side. He had.
Is that Les Thornton on the commentary?
That is on his collarbone.
Southeast. This is going to be Southeastern. This is going to be Knoxville, right?
Yes, sir.
This is start for his combination. Phil Hickerson in the start for the team of
This little thing right here at the start. This man right there in the ring right now, Mr. Kevin
No, this would be Knoxville. Yeah, because you got Sullivan, you got Ron Wright. Yeah, definitely Knoxville.
Sullivan is built like a brick shithouse.
Look at that,
dude.
Teamwork
and then
there.
look at it. Watch Hickerson work, though. For a big guy, dude, he could get around the ring. There was no bullshit right there. Reminds you a lot of Don Bass, right?
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things, if folks check out Dangerous Conversations this Friday when it drops, I did a show with Doug and Tommy today, and it's one thing that both guys talked a lot about was just the tremendous shape. Like, to look at Phil Hickerson, you're like, all right, well, that's just like, he's got a dad bod on him there. He's not in great shape. Dude had cardio for days. Like, you could not blow that guy up in this time period right here.
Look at Dennis with the long blonde hair. Looked a lot like Bobby Eaton right there.
He did.
Looked a lot like Bobby
He
Eaton.
looked like somebody shrunk Big John Studd down. But, man, with that mullet hairdo, yeah, he looks a lot like Bobby.
But watch the way that Hickerson works. He's very smooth. He's pretty snug, but he's smooth with it. But he moves around so good. And he didn't, as Dusty would say, I don't have the body of the athlete today. You know, I got a big old belly.
But, yeah, I mean, everywhere these guys went, they were just an absolute top heel team. I did a lot of research on these guys when I wrote that article on Phil Hickerson back in March. And, you know, over in the Gulas section of the territory back in the day, like like Jackie Fargo took on just an array of tag team partners trying to get the tag team titles off of Hickerson and Condry. And it's like Jackie Fargo and, you know, Jerry Lawler, Jackie Fargo and Roughhouse Fargo, Jackie Fargo and Andre the Giant. Like, and they were selling out all over the place. And these guys had so much heat.
Dude, look at this right here. Tell me, as he backs up and he throws this thumb, you tell me this isn't Bobby Eaton working right here. This is Bobby fucking Eaton. Watch this. Just watch. That's Bobby.
Yeah.
He looks just like Bobby there from the back.
I love those. Him and Dennis both. You see those shots like that right on the shit. Look, he sold off a hot tag. That's tremendous.
Have you ever sold a hot tag?
The guy that's bumping off hot tag. That's tremendous. Look at that.
And this is Ted Allen right here, right?
This is Ted Allen. He would be better known in later years as Nightmare Ted Allen. He was originally one of the Nightmares with Danny Davis. Well, and then David Oswald was one of the Nightmares. And eventually, when Ken Wayne was, look at that.
Dude, the rope broke. Look at this shit.
Yeah, ring just came apart.
Okay, here we go.
But yeah, there was a point where in Memphis you had mass Nightmares of Danny Davis and Ken Wayne, and then over in Alabama and Georgia you had Ted Allen and David Oswald as the mass Nightmares. And they were very similar, all of them similar in size.
Look at the so they're going to work this match. They don't have the rope, but they're just going to finish it out.
Yeah, they don't miss a beat here. But yeah, you would see Ted would do a lot of enhancement stuff in Georgia later on, 84, 85. But trained a lot of people over the years. Another one of those Rome, Georgia guys with Marty Lundy, aka Arn Anderson.
Is Ted Allen still alive? Do we know?
No, Ted passed several years back.
So there's no way, no one that we're watching right now is alive.
Nope. Absolutely not.
It kind of makes you sad. Like me, I'm at 52 and you're, getting close to 50, and all of our heroes are going to be gone at some point. All of our growing up, and then that's any business, right? Because they're adults when we're kids. But, it kind of makes you realize, man, all my heroes are dying, There won't be any Memphis alumni left,
Yeah, you watch these whole cards, and then as each match happens, you
Look at that shit. Did you see that?
this is Dennis Condry doing this. He's not a guy that he thought of him as a solid worker. You didn't think of him as like an innovator of
How much do you think Bobby got off of Dennis? Because look at the way Dennis is working and look at the way Bobby worked. Are you telling me that doesn't look like Bobby eating from behind?
Oh yeah, he had to be heavily influenced by Dennis, and Bobby would have seen a bunch of Dennis's work as a fan before he got in the business. Of course, they worked against each other before they were partners. It's funny because you had at one time there was a Dennis Condry Stan Lane team at one point, and then later Bobby would team with Stan and slubbered him there, as Dusty was saying.
They was filibustering. They was filibustering to get that rope fixed, baby.
Oh, he's not working the arm. He pulled him straight up off.
Dude, straight up working the arm. Let me show you how to really work the arm, kid. Dennis is very impressive right here. I've not watched this match in years.
Yeah, like I said, I wish there was a lot more footage of these guys.
Well, this footage here is very good, very clear.
Age, it's beautiful. God, the fact that those guys recycled all the damn tapes back then, and all you have is these rare tapes that somebody recorded back in the day. God, if we had master tapes of Southeastern and Memphis, like we have of some of the Mid-Atlantic stuff, and all right.
Yep.
Oh,
he just submitted because they broke his damn arm. They're like,
I'm done.
Here, Kevin Sullivan's here, let me drag you over here.
See, how cool is that? It wasn't like, hey, they finished him off with some cool finishing move. They just wailed on his freaking arm until he had to give up.
In the early part of the match, Phil, but then Condry and Hickerson took command, and they went on to punish Ted severely.
They found that vulnerable area, that arm, and Allen cannot take the tremendous punch.
Well, that was it on there, Look at
Leisure Suit Les there.
Leisure Suit Les, baby. Leisure Suit Les. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got something else that we're going to go into right now, and that is when I first kind of saw Phil Hickerson was actually during the Freedom Fighters thing. But before we get to that, in 85, I think this is going to be early 85 is when this is going to happen. But I want to take a look at Phil Hickerson and how good he was on the stick and how well he could work an angle.
Phil Hickerson, and I guess you thought you were through with Terry Taylor, brother. He doesn't give up.
I want to say this right now. And I want to address this to Tom Renesto and Eddie Marlin and everything. I don't know what they've got against me, Here it is, a local boy that come down to Jackson, Tennessee, and I win this title from Terry Taylor, right?
Yeah, you did.
And ever since then, they have done everything in their power to give me every kind of match against everybody in order for me to lose this belt. I don't know what it is. Here it is, Terry Taylor. I beat him right there in Jackson. The next thing I know, I turned right around here in Memphis, and not once but twice I had to beat him twice in order to keep the belt. And then...
So why is it that people say twice with a T on the end of it? Can you tell me about that?
I don't know. I used to work with a lady at Walgreens, and we would make fun of her because she'd say, I done told him twice that he's supposed to go back there. And,
I'm not, and I'm going to tell you, my grandmother did the same exact thing. So I'm not making fun because my grandma did it. I just wondered why.
Yeah,
all right, here we go.
Thing. I don't know where it comes from.
Phil's had to beat him twice.
The next thing you know, they bring in 7 times world champion Harley Race. It took me twice, right back to back, man. I don't know what they got against me, man. Here it is, I'm out here just trying to make a living. You know what I'm talking about. And here it is again. They have gone to the whole thing. they have gone again and brought Terry Taylor back. Why? To do one thing is to try to make me lose this belt. I don't want to wrestle Terry Taylor. I'm looking for better things, and Terry Taylor's a pass to me. But no, man, here it is. Terry Taylor again, one more time. That's the only thing I'm hearing, one more time.
Right.
This is going to be the third time. But Terry Taylor, let me address something to you, brother.
Right.
This right here belongs to me. It's not yours, it's mine. And when you come...
They're getting behind him because they put hard times on Phil
I'm going to
Hickerson.
beat you so bad, I'm going to mess that little pretty face up yours that your own mama don't recognize. His own mama will disown him when I get through with him.
Looks like your face got messed up a little bit in
Don't worry about my face, man. I'm telling you what I'm going to do to Terry Taylor. His mother will disown him if he even knows who his mother is.
Oh, that was really smart. Okay, Phil Hickerson, the international heavyweight champion, and Terry Taylor.
I love the way Lance sells it with, oh, that was really smart. Like, you dumb shit. Of course he knows who his mother is.
Good old Lance.
Taylor, I can guarantee you, will be wanting to walk out of there with that belt around his waist. We've got action. Back to the ring in a moment.
All right, so we got the Parade of Champions, man. We got the Parade of Champions. August 19th.
So
There you
this
go,
was
man.
a little confusing. Like, me and Ray Russell just talked about this recently on the Memphis 85 show. So, like, Terry Taylor won the international title, and then he just leaves the territory. He goes to Mid-South. And so Jerry Jarrett would just stick that international title in a drawer, that and the Mid-America title, and it would just disappear. And then all of a sudden they booked Terry Taylor again, and he comes back in wearing the belt. Like, oh, Terry, you've been defending this title all over internationally.
He's been all over the internationals.
Yeah. So Phil Hickerson wins that belt, as he just said, in Jackson. And I remember telling Ray, I was like, okay, well, they just wanted to get the belt off Taylor and get it back in rotation, you know. So he wins it in Jackson. Well, then they wrestle again the next Monday night in Memphis. Taylor wins the damn thing back. So I was like, well, wait a minute. What are they doing here? And then Phil wins it, like he said, twice. And now he's going to have to wrestle him thrice. And I don't remember where it goes from there. But we're leading into another angle.
Right,
here.
right. And that's where we're going. Let's look at the second. Let's go to next week. Because remember, even though that crowd was getting behind him, Hickerson is a heel right here.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, and obviously he's done a little chicanery in the past, and he's leading up to some things going on that he wants a part of. Here we go.
Okay, we're about ready to get into action. We've got a tag match coming up. Phil? You're supposed to do your talking in the ring.
Shut up, man. Just listen to this. I want to know, here it is, Phil Hickerson, international heavyweight champion. You know, I mean, I'm not getting no respect, none whatsoever. You realize that? Nobody. I don't understand it, man. Here it is. I come out here, I beat Terry Taylor. How many times, Lance Russell? 3 times.
Yeah, okay.
Harley Race twice, but I still not get no respect. And here it is. I can't believe I just come out. I heard Jerry Lawler come out here and say, what? He couldn't get a what? Partner or something? You know what I mean?
Austin Idol is heard in the...
Well, let me tell you something, man. If King's back there and he can hear anything, you know, he's got the toughest wrestler right here. I don't know why he's back there calling Dundee or Jimmy Valiant or what, you know. They probably find Valiant somewhere. He's all strung out, you know, out in a gutter somewhere. And Dundee, man, it's a known fact, he don't want it. He don't want no part of Lawler. There don't want to be no tag team. I don't understand why he don't pick me. I don't understand.
Well, I can understand, Phil, why he doesn't pick you.
Lance sells so
What
well.
I don't, why? Because who in the world knows what you're going to do in there? He's going to get his head knocked off.
Lawler's been champion around here, man, 7, 8, 9 years. Everybody shows him respect. Everybody knows him worldwide. But here it is, me from Jackson, Tennessee. No, they don't want to give me no world recognition. I want it, brother. So like I said, man, all he's got to do is ask.
You would want to...
I'm fixing to get in here, man. Together, man. Could you imagine that? Together? That Lawler...
You want to get in with Lawler?
We could beat the Freebirds in a matter of no time. We could beat the Sheep Herders. We could beat the Road Warriors. And, man, look at all the recognition we'd get. I love it.
What you're saying with all of this international title, you're still not the big
right.
fan.
Nobody wants to. You don't show me no respect. You don't like me. I know that. I can see it in your eyes. And all these people see. But now I'm going to get up here. You see them two over there?
I see them.
If I don't beat In 2 minutes, I'll shave my head right here. Come on with it, Watch this.
Okay, let's go to the ring. Phil Hickerson.
This is going to be a one-fall, 15-minute time limit match, introducing at a total weight of 423 pounds.
All these guys are just going to stand in the ring while he cuts that promo.
And Frank Morrell's still working here at this point, right?
Oh, yeah. Bless his heart, it's all he can do with that mask stretched over that big dome of his. He's got no neck to speak of at all. It's just head and torso.
There's one more part to this where we're setting this all up. There's one more part in this angle, and then they have the last part that I'm going to add in, and it's a really good little 2-3 week gig that they ran right here to get this done.
But I loaded another one down there to show you later from '89 that I don't know if you've seen, but it's pretty funny.
Well, and that's when he's P.Y. Chu-Hi, right?
No. He's not P.Y. Chu-Hi yet. But he's dunking on Max Payne, and it's
I got you.
Dave in the background.
Yeah, I saw that. I've got.
They do not have anywhere near the size or experience of a Phil Hickerson.
And you to hear them once this landed.
Dude, and I got the volume back.
Hammers him down to the mat. Yeah. He came off the ropes. He hit him with the upper arm. He just stood there about 3 feet off the ropes and waited for him. Power down to the mat. We're 1 minute into the action. Spoiler said Phil doesn't need me in this one. He's just standing there paying attention. Hickerson grabs him. One knee, 1, 2, 3, and Phil Hickerson wins it.
Well, Frank didn't get in there.
In a minute, 15 seconds, he did, in fact, beat his own self-imposed time limit. Take a look at how he did it here, as it was all Phil Hickerson off the ropes. Ooh,
he was pretty stiff.
And then right up there, he pulls him back out of the corner so his partner can't help out. And then with one knee, pins the shoulders down, count of 1, 2, 3, falls, and Phil Hickerson.
Well, I got to ask. I mean, straight up, I got to ask. Did you get to work Phil Hickerson at any point?
No, I never even got to meet him, unfortunately. I kept pushing Doug for the last year or two. You know, it was like, hey, we got to get him on the podcast. We got to get him on the podcast, but he just wasn't up for it, unfortunately, because Doug got to work with him quite a bit. First angle Doug ever did in the business was with Phil Hickerson, and got to take some road trips with him and things like that. But no, unfortunately, I never got a chance to even meet Phil, and I really regret that. And in fact, his partner there, Frank Morrell, is going to be making a rare appearance at the Kayfabe Cave. My buddy Todd Camp, Kayfabe Camp in Pulaski, Tennessee, and Frank's going to be there in July. And I'm going to make the trip up there to meet Frank and get a couple.
It's worth it.
Because
absolutely worth it.
Like you said, man, these guys are a rare breed these days. So.
There are more of our heroes gone than there are still here. And so, that's where it starts getting bad. All right. So this angle, he's still working. He's still a heel, but he's wanting to partner up with Lawler because he doesn't think anybody can beat him and Lawler. We're getting ready to blow this thing off. Here we go.
Okay. We're going to be back in the ring in just a moment. We'll be looking at Coco Ware, and you're not Tom Branch.
I'm back.
No.
I'm having a little problem, Lance. Let me just say, I made 2 phone calls. I got a hold of one person. I didn't get a hold of the other. I tried Jimmy Valiant first, and I wasn't able. There was nobody at his home. I called in. Jimmy is currently wrestling over in the Mid-Atlantic area in Charlotte, North Carolina. I called the booking office there and was able to talk to Jim Crockett.
Now, I want to stop right there. Memphis was one of the few places that ever acknowledged other promotions.
Yeah.
Why was that? Was it they were comfortable with what they had?
Yeah, I think so. Like, they weren't competing with him because in Memphis you couldn't see Jim Crockett Promotions. The Superstation wasn't a thing yet. So, like you could talk about them and it put over, because I know a lot of fans are like, well, where's Handsome Jimmy? So it kind of lets you know, hey, they're out there. They're still doing their thing in other places. So I don't know why other territories didn't do that more, other than just you'd hear them, mention them, and they were definitely. They wouldn't talk about them, but they would show, like when somebody was coming in, they would show these tapes, and it would be them wrestling in another territory. And
Absolutely.
So, like as a kid, I'd be like, "Where is that? Oh, hey, I recognize that from the magazine. That's Portland. That's, Florida. That's Central States or whatever.
Right.
And that was always like that was one of my favorite things about the videos that they would show for somebody coming in, is trying to figure out what territory it was from and getting to see a little bit of it.
That's how I told you how I knew Continental was, because of those stars
Yeah.
on the mat. And you remember Exotic Adrian Street's videos were that. All right, so Jerry's running his mouth now, so we'll let Jerry talk, and then Phil's got something to say.
The problem being, a lot of people want, there's not only wrestling in Memphis on Monday nights, but there's wrestling, in different cities all around the country. Monday night happens to be apparently just a good night for wrestling. A lot of the different areas have their major cities, the wrestling on Monday nights, and Jimmy is booked in North Carolina, already booked in a title match over there, and so it's not going to be able to get him out. Dundee, for some reason or other.
Don't come out here, please, causing any trouble, Phil.
No, wait a minute. Anyway, let me tell you. Anyway,
And
Bill Dundee, I talked with Bill Dundee, and I heard Hickerson, what he said out here earlier, and apparently there is some sort of problem. Bill won a match over Bowtie, and he was supposed to get a shot at my Southern title, and he said he was still waiting on that shot, and I said, I don't even have the belt anymore, and he said, well, I'll wait and come in when you do have the title, and he wants to wrestle me for the title.
I was going to say this real quick before we move too far past it, but it always bugged me that Lawler would alternate between calling him Dundee, like the
Dundee
rest
or
of the
Dundee.
civilization, and other times he would say Dundee. There was no rhyme or reason to it. And he would also sometimes say Boda, the witch doctor, and other times say Bowtie. And that, even as a kid, that drove me nuts. And hearing it now, I was like, pick one. Just pick one. Sorry, I just had to get it off my chest.
Title for some reason. Anyway, Bill Dundee is not coming. But Lance, I have a lot of telephone numbers here. There are a lot of guys around the country that don't like the Freebirds. I was just thinking the Von Erichs possibly, somebody like that. So anyway, I'm going to make some more phone calls, and I will get somebody.
Okay, put that book up, brother. You don't need no quarter to call anybody in that book. You can talk to me. I'll be your partner, man. Hey, together, Lawler, me and you can whoop anybody in the world. In the world, I'm telling. Tell him, Lance Russell, that Lawler and Phil Hickerson can beat anybody in the world.
Phil, we know you're tough, but I don't think anybody trusts you.
Man, the free birds, the sheep herders, man, the road warriors, you name it. And boy, we'd be in lights.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, we'd be in lights, Lawler.
Names and lights, right? Let me just say this, Phil. You're as easy to see through as a pane of glass. The problem with you is you want recognition. You want your name in lights, right?
Sure.
You're the international champion. I'll admit.
No respect out of it, too.
No respect. I'll admit that you are a tough wrestler.
That's right.
You beat a lot of good men. Terry Taylor, Harley Race, you got the title. I'll admit all that. But you want the recognition that you think you deserve. And I think that what you got in your mind, Phil, is the way that you're going to get all the recognition, as you said, worldwide, the way that everybody would be talking about Phil Hickerson would be, he's the man that turned on Lawler when Lawler let him
No,
do
man, I won't turn on him.
No.
And when I'm going against some guys, when I'm wrestling against the Freebirds, you've already seen what they're capable of. I got to have somebody, Phil, that I can trust. So thanks, but no thanks.
Trust is the word, and that is exactly. You can't blame. Hey, all I'm telling you, you want to know why.
I don't get no.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, we can beat anybody in the world.
Yeah, particularly him. If three of you jumped on him all at one time.
Lance Russell absolutely did not trust what the hell was going on there. But, Gene, they end up, we're not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to show you kind of where we get to. They progress this angle for a while, and finally, Hickerson gets to join up with Lawler. And true to his word, Hickerson doesn't turn on him at first. And here's what happens.
I'll tell you one thing. That action coming up at the Coliseum in Jackson tomorrow night is going to be something else. You've already said it, and you summed it up well. 10 matches, 5 main events, 4 title matches. And here come some of the folks that will be involved in the action out there. The King, Jerry Lawler, the Birdman, Coco Ware, and the international heavyweight, the King of Jackson, Phil Hickerson, will be right there.
Okay, I got to pause right here. Gene, I'm looking for that belt.
The Mid-America belt?
I want a replica of it, but I don't know if anybody's ever made one because it looks like it's made with aluminum foil and duct tape.
So I've held that belt, or at least an exact facsimile of it. Dave Milliken, I think, has the actual belt. I'm pretty sure, and that's the one I there's a picture of me on my Facebook somewhere holding that belt and that international belt that Phil Hickerson had.
Because it actually says NWA Mid-America Champion etched into it, if I remember from what I saw it when Buddy Landell wore it and I was in the front row at Nashville. I think I remember seeing that's what it said.
Yeah, it's one of those piss poor trophy shop belts that Gulas was famous for. Now, oddly enough, here, 4 years ago, the current NWA, the Billy Corgan ran NWA, reinstated the NWA Mid-America title, and they made a belt that looks strikingly similar to that, but it's a lot nicer than what that belt was. And my buddy Jeremiah Plunkett won that title and has held it for a couple of years now, defends it all over the place. And I actually did a podcast with Plunkett where we went through the entire history of the Mid-America title back from the Gulas days up through.
And that belt came from Gulas, right? That belt was Gulas's belt. All right, go ahead.
So that's what they were like. Dutch Mantell and Randy Savage was feuding over the Mid-America title, and for Gulas then. So and like I said, Jarrett would just randomly pull it out of a drawer, and they would wrestle for it for a while, and then it would just kind of disappear, and then it would pop back up. I remember in like 87 or 88, all of a sudden Moondog Spot comes in and he's just randomly the Mid-America champion. And then of course the next week Jeff Jarrett wins it and he runs around with the Mid-America title for a few months, and that's why it reappeared. But yeah, we'll do some searching around and see if we can't find you a rep. I would love for you to have a replica of the old Mid-America title. That would be
my favorite belt.
Wow.
To be having all kind of action in terms of the matches that go. Coco, the Birdman, is going to be defending that Mid-America title against a pretty rugged guy. Lawler will tell you about that for a fact. Boda the Witch Doctor.
That's right. I got it one more time in Jackson, Tennessee. So, Boda, bring it on, because the Birdman is fired up. And Jackson, Tennessee, get ready, because we're going to have a big throwdown up in Jackson. And I can't wait, because the Bird is going to do the Bird all over you, baby, right there in Jackson.
Okay, Coco, and I know one thing. The international belt will be at stake, too. And, of course, Phil Hickerson will be doing his usual thing, tough and rough.
Jackson, right?
Yes.
The king, the mayor of Jackson, the
Tommy
king
Wright.
Well, let me tell you, Mr. Wright, just be prepared, man, because you're coming to my old home stomping grounds. Jackson, the people in Jackson, they love me. Now I can become a king and everything, Boy, it's great.
Yeah, I
It's
wonder.
great. People there in Jackson love me.
In addition to that, there's going to be a Southern heavyweight title match, and that's going to have Jerry going back after this guy not too many miles from where he took it away with the help of somebody else, Jerry.
That's right. Well, Lance, we know that Michael Hayes is not going to be allowed anywhere in that building. He will not be involved in this match. It's just going to be me and this Taurus Bulba, and we'll just see how much of a champion he really is. He's going to have to prove it to me right there in Jackson. We're looking forward to being there. Phil said that now that we've wrestled in Memphis, this King's hometown, we got to go up and wrestle in Jackson, so we're going to be there tomorrow night.
I want to remind everybody, too, that there's going to be a two-ring triple chance battle royal, 21 men, all of it included on that big card. Looking for you in Jackson, guys. Good luck on the title. We'll see how it's all going to happen right now. Let's go back to...
I never knew who Phil Hickerson was until I got to Memphis, and my first experience to see Phil Hickerson. And this is probably where you're going to remember seeing this too, because I'm sure I know you were getting crossover TV at that point. This is late '85.
Phil Hickerson. Well, it takes a little time, Jim. I mean, this doesn't happen overnight.
Well, we understand we're a little green and new to the area and stuff like that, but when you
So Jim Hellwig, Ultimate Warrior, says, "I know we're a little green."
Understatement.
In account what we look like, our physiques, and the rock hard muscle that we're carrying, that should add up to some of the disadvantages compared to the fat people. The king of all the fast food restaurants, Jerry Lawler, and Phil Hickerson, spends his days. He never goes to the gym, never seen the inside of a gym.
Yeah, but he's held a lot of titles now. Let me make that difference right there, that Hickerson, and I have always agreed with him, but the son of a gun has been at it a long time, Jim, and you and Steve, I think, got to take that
Title shot.
I think they're probably in a hurry, Phil, and
That's right, man. I ain't got nothing against you, and since y'all been here, I've been trying to hit y'all, I've been talking, like,
You ain't got no right to come out here and say, hey, I hadn't seen the inside of a gym and I'm fat. And then, you don't have a right to say that. Let me tell you something. You know the reason why you hadn't wrestled against Lawler and any, like Dundee, Mantell, myself, or Coco, the reason you two have not wrestled in them matches because you're green and you don't know how to wrestle. The only thing that you know how to do, brother, is to pull them bitches down and put them steroids in that booty. That's the only thing that you two idiots know, and you know it. That's where you're coming from. You know, this 22-inch arm, I'll put your head in there and smash it like a rotten tomato. Don't scare me one damn bit, brother, because the one thing about it, I can wrestle, and I can fight, and that's something that you can't do. You cannot do either one, and that's the reason why you're going to be wrestling in the first and second matches the rest of your damn life. All right, Phil, I think they heard it out there. I think they got the point. You don't have no right to come out here and say anything about anybody, brother. Yeah, we do. We have a lot of rights. All the help and stuff that you can... That's right. Yeah, I'm telling you that right now, boy. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, come on. Hey. Phil. Jim Herwig.
This is what led up to them breaking Phil Hickerson's arm at the Coliseum with the bell.
That was what I always liked about Phil Hickerson is like, it wasn't shooting, but Phil would always say things that you knew was true. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you knew they were on steroids.
Just like that shit about Valiant being strung out and everything. I mean, that was...
You know who Hickerson reminds, or who would remind me as close to Hickerson is Troy Graham, Dream Machine.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they're
sure.
a lot alike. I would have thought they were related. But the thing about Phil was, I remember this. This is the first exposure I had to him, and I remember the next week he had a broken arm because they hit him with the bell. And I remember that. So this is right in my heyday right here. And I thought this Phil Hickerson guy, I'd never seen him before. I remember I'm sitting in the apartment watching it Saturday morning, and I loved this guy. And ever since then, I became a fan. Dude, he's strong, too. He's a strong guy.
Well, I mean, it's funny because, like, all right, somebody like in your position, he comes walking out, and you're like, this looks like somebody's damn dad walking out here talking smack to these two big muscle guys. But then he gets in there, and he can handle himself, and he can move, and he's strong, and...
Dude, he can go. And he's trying to help them because they're green. He was kind of their mentor.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. They threw him in there fucked up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how green they were.
Hang on, I got to replay that shit. I got to replay that shit. Watch him throw him into the ropes, dude. Wow.
I mean, yeah, because you just like, you go on your own, but no, Hell's trying to fling him into the damn ropes for real. God, after that, this makes you nervous watching him pick him up. Should have dropped him on his friggin' head.
Oh.
Hickerson now trying to face two of these guys, and both of them are big. Hellwig at 285, Steve Borden at 255.
Use their real names there. That's where they were still the freedom fighters.
That's ridiculous right here, Dave. Hey, you taking it 2-on-1. Uh-oh. There we go.
Steve Kern.
With a big stool in hand.
That's what we're talking about right here. Is that comment right there. That's what we're looking at.
Too dumb to stay around there and get their heads beat in.
They had a lot more hair then.
You better believe that as Kern came in and took
Steve
care
Kern.
of what action was going in.
You're beating the stew out of him in there.
Your good buddy, Steve Kern. Close personal friend, I hear. In there.
At what point are you going to be done?
You got his phone number, don't you?
Who?
Steve Kern.
I do.
Oh,
but I have his phone number, and I've talked to him. I have three I have probably about 2 or 3 missed calls from him, and he has 1 call from me.
See, you're too busy to even talk to Steve. That's
how
big of a deal you are.
It's not that. It's that I'm not ready for Steve Kern yet, and I don't know where I'm going to go with that. But did Steve Kern?
You got to be ready to answer.
Did Steve Kern ever have a feud with Hickerson?
Now
Did
see
the Fabs
the
get in
new Fabs.
I get
Johnny,
that.
I mean, Tommy and Eddie had a big feud.
Oh
with,
yeah, that's the one that got all bloody. That's the one where
Yeah.
Tommy puts the mask on. Boom, boom.
So there's this moment in time where they say that Phil got injured and was like away for a couple of years, but you really can't find what the injury was. And now on again on Dangerous Conversations that'll come out tomorrow at midnight, Doug said that at that time Phil like left the business and was driving a truck and was doing some other things, and he don't really know that he was actually injured. He said he may have been, but that he was also like driving a truck back and forth between Tennessee and Dallas, and that might be kind of a connection for later on when he ends up out there as PY Chu-Hi and that sort of thing as well. But point being, Phil was kind of out of the picture during the heyday of the fabulous ones there. So I don't know. I'm sure they had to wrestle because, I mean, the Fabs were there before Hickerson went away, and they've all been in and out. So I'm sure they crossed paths, but I don't think they had a big feud because of that.
So what's crazy is I'm starting a show this Friday night. It's going to be live here on YouTube. We start the Arc of an Angle. And I'm covering the Eric Embry Devastation Incorporated feud, which led to Eric Embry, P.Y. Chu-Hi, Phil Hickerson. I don't think people realize how important Phil Hickerson is to the history of wrestling, both in Memphis and Dallas, because he was in that pivotal match that took Dallas to the USWA.
No.
The cool thing about that is, in this part that we're watching right here, that we just saw, that was where I was exposed to Hickerson. Mm-hmm. But then I got to see him on Friday nights at the Sportatorium when he first got brought in. And I will tell you, I never knew. I'm 14, 15.
Yeah.
I never knew that was Phil Hickerson. Never had a clue. But I love Chu-Hi.
Let me ask you something here. Because in retrospect, when people talk about Phil Hickerson and then they talk about P.Y. Chu-Hi, a lot of people treat it like it was some kind of comedy character or something. You were there in Dallas when he comes in. You were there watching those main events when they were. That was not the perception, right? This was a dangerous guy managed by Tojo Yamamoto. Even if you didn't think he was literally Japanese, you didn't think, hey, this is old Phil Hickerson from Jackson, Tennessee playing a Japanese person.
He played the same character as Tijo Khan, right? He was not, that guy ain't Japanese, but you knew he could like probably beat the shit out of you. They got Phil over quick, right? But I had no idea that was Phil Hickerson. And the reason we didn't look at it as a comedy routine is because I didn't know it was Phil Hickerson. You guys in Memphis, you Memphis marks, you all knew that it was Phil Hickerson. In Dallas, we didn't know.
Yeah, we were like, what the fuck are we doing? Why's Phil Hickerson acting like he's Japanese?
We didn't know because who was Phil Hickerson to us? And I saw him on literally, here's what I remember of Phil Hickerson. The match you saw right there, not a match, but the beatdown. I remember the next week he was out with the arm being broken. Mm-hmm. And then next thing I remember is Frank Morrell comes out and says I was the spoiler because he was then working with Billy Joe Travis or getting Billy Joe Travis in. So I didn't have enough exposure to Phil to know. I mean, I didn't know at that time, oh my God, the Midnight Express, who I love, that Dennis Condry, his actual real good partner before Bobby was Phil Hickerson.
Right.
I didn't know that. So we didn't consider P.Y. Chu-Hi any kind of a comedy routine in Dallas. In Dallas, he was the fucker that was going to screw everything up with Tojo Yamamoto and World Class, and that Max Andrews and all these people were going to have control, and it was just going to be bad.
Yeah, I really wanted to get that across here. I know it'll really come across as the series progresses with Arc of an Angle, but I really wanted to, because if you think about it, so like Phil comes into the business in 1973. 1989, he's in legitimate main events in Dallas. You know, outside of Memphis, a lot of people are like, oh, all he did was Memphis. No, he went to Japan. Him and Jerry Blackwell did the Real World Tag Series in All Japan. He's the main event heel down there in the main angle with Eric Embry in Dallas. he's not just a Memphis guy. I mean, he had his greatest success there, but
Tojo, I mean, he was over as a heel instantly with Tojo. Nobody was having shit to do in the Sportatorium with Tojo Yamamoto. And I thought it was cool, but see, I kept wanting to know where his wooden shoes were. Because in Dallas, he didn't wear the wooden shoes. And I knew he had the wooden shoes. And I kept telling my buddies, I remember I was like, dude, that little dude, man. I said, that's the guy that beat up Jerry Jarrett. He always called Jerry Jarrett stupid. And I said, he used to have these wooden shoes, man. And I saw him at the fairgrounds one night. He like tattooed somebody with one of his wooden shoes. But he never had the wooden shoes in Dallas.
Yeah. Like you can mention Tojo Yamamoto to people my dad's age and that general range. And the first thing out of their mouth, that wooden shoes, man. He would bust people open with them damn wooden shoes,
Yeah, I liked him. Well, I want to go look at this. We're going to go to, you threw something up here. I haven't seen it. We're just going to throw it up. Here we go.
CWA heavyweight champion and a very large member of the stud stable. We're talking about Phil Hickerson, of course, who is scheduled up in our next match in here that will be a non-title match. And here he is, the champion.
Wait a minute. It's a sad, sad situation.
What is this, Phil?
Something real bad. We done killed 2 midgets. Oh.
There was a previous segment he's referring to here.
Killed this week, and I think, it's a solid moment.
I think it's sad, I'll say that.
But let me tell you, I want to say this, and this is for the midgets and for them. Short people ain't no business. In the wrestling business, they got little bitty hands and little bitty feet. Their voices go tweet, tweet, tweet.
Really funny, Phil. Really funny.
So that's for the midgets. Now, let me tell you something. I heard all these stipulations about 2 referees are going to be searching me for a change.
Right.
Well, one thing, brother, these referees must be fast because I don't like men touching my body, and feeling of me and all that stuff. I don't go for that. But let me tell you something. I've done a little research. Everybody knows, we changed Max Payne's name to Maxie Pad, so that's what he's going by now. But let me tell you something. That boy is
Look at Dave back there.
He is a freak of nature, and I know the reason why. Because that's what happens when his daddy married his own sister, and that is the results of it, is Maxie Pad. That's right. Maxie Pad is so stupid, if it was raining soup, he would be out there in the yard with a fork. Now, that's how stupid it is. But if you want it, I don't need chains, Max Payne. I don't need him to beat you, because I can beat you like a dog that you are right in the middle of the ring. Mm-hmm. Now, what more can I say? I am a true champion. I am the bank champion, and right there is the bank, baby, and I own the bank.
And you're going to be a champion. It'll be inspected by 2 referees.
They're not going to find nothing on me. Max Payne is the one that brings the chains to the ring, and this big goof, he happens to accidentally drop it, and I just pick it up and beat his brains out with it. I capitalize on everybody's mistake, baby. And who is it today? Tommy Gilbert. Am I wrestling Tommy Gilbert?
That's absolutely the truth.
Well, I'll probably go ahead and beat him in about 47 seconds. I'm going to take it real easy on him. I'm going to take it real easy on him, simply because I want to see Gary Young get a hold of him.
What year is this, Gene?
1989.
This is 4 years past what I showed, and what I showed, he looked a lot older and a lot less. So him getting away from the business and coming back, he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say a lot of it for Gary Young today.
He's in Robert Fuller's stud stable at this point.
Now, what else you want to ask me?
I don't want to ask you anything else except go to the ring and see if we can get ourselves into a match in here, Phil.
You like my song? You thought Elvis would come back alive, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I really did.
I know you did. I'll probably get an Emmy for that. You know what?
CWA heavyweight champion Phil Hickerson. Not funny.
Covington Pike Toyota years. Okay.
Number 1 in the USA. You can't do better than that,
match right here should be a good one. Introducing out of Lexington, Tennessee, at 224 pounds.
Now, when you were going through looking at Phil Hickerson footage today, did you come across the video where he basically was like punking out your boy Billy Travis?
I saw it and I thought, I've given Billy Joe so much shit.
You thought it looked like you're carrying an agenda.
I'm giving Billy Joe a pass today, but I can promise you it is in the Retro Wrestling Archive Library in our Dallas location.
All right. That's what I figured. I was like, he had to have seen this and been all about this because, boy, Phil roughed him up here. Hey, we got a comment. Robert Fuller as manager for Phil is something. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, it was, because right around this general time is when they had that controversial angle with Brickhouse Brown with the whole watermelon
thing, right?
And Phil was right in the middle of that, of course. Tommy Rich made a good analogy today during that podcast, saying that as humorous as he was and that whole Southern drawl and everything, that Phil always kind of reminded him of Jerry Clower. And I was like, dude, I've never thought of that. Man, you're spot on with that.
I've never heard that. You know what, Gene? That's spot on, isn't it?
Yeah, Tommy nailed that one. And, once he got out of the wrestling business, much like our friend Brandon Baxter did in Jonesboro, Phil had a big career as the morning country music station DJ there, and
in Jackson, right?
Yeah, he had. Well, Doug was telling that he did really well selling cars for a period of time, and then he ended up on the radio and did great at that. And I can imagine that because he is funny here. I mean, even though this must be a heel, you still find yourself laughing at him. Of course, here he is pulling a chain after he was
doing. But it's the Don Bass chain, right?
Yeah, Well, he opened his hand and showed it there. But and so, here's Tommy Gilbert on TV in '89, and it wouldn't be long after this before he'll be donning the Freddy Krueger outfit. Hell, he might have already been doing it some even here.
I don't know who Eddie and Doug look like.
That's what I always thought. That, I mean, Doug resembles Tommy at this stage of Tommy's life more than Eddie ever did. Like, Eddie didn't, to me, never really looked much like either one of them. But Tommy, to me, in his younger days, when he'd come out with those sunglasses on, always looked like Burt Reynolds.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of. The mustache. He was Magnum PI, kind of a Magnum PI looking.
Yeah,
not Tom Selleck, but more.
You
right there. He looked like
and he's the
Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit look.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you had to have the cowboy hat with the big feather gimmick.
Yeah,
little gimmick wrapped around the hat.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, my dad had one of those. Yeah, so I mean, you just watch his work though. His work's solid. Tommy's work's solid too. Make no mistake, those Gilbert boys could get it done.
Hey, I watched Tommy in the ring with Don Bass in 1998 in Corinth, Mississippi, and he could still go then.
Yep, Tommy can still go. So, are you familiar with the Dennis Condry, Phil Hickerson rib? That's the one that's the most famous in Memphis lore. Are you familiar with the story?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Now, so here's a little bit of insight here. Tommy just turned face after Eddie, Missy, and Doug had left for Continental, and that's absolutely true. They had been wreaking havoc in '88, and then Eddie went to go book Continental. Doug and Missy went with him, and Tommy stuck around and wrestled as a babyface, and then eventually, like I say, he would become Freddy Krueger of all people.
It's when John Gillum went down to Dothan with Eddie, right?
Yes, that whole
John Gillum shit.
The whole John Gillum angle on TV, and it's funny because
they beat the shit out of
Eddie. Did an angle with John Gillum everywhere he went. He did it in Continental.
He did it in Memphis?
A couple different ones on Memphis TV in different periods of time. He brought him up to Philadelphia when he was booking ECW and did a thing with him up there. And Doug, another thing to listen for on Dangerous Conversation, Doug tells a funny story about Phil ribbing John Gillum after a show one night. It was funny.
So back to the deal. You know the story, right? That I'm going to play?
Yes.
It's probably the funniest rib I've ever heard.
It's something. Boy, is it something.
Throws him into the turnbuckles across the ring. And Tommy Gilbert really taking a beating here in the last 30 seconds or so. Hickerson again fires him into the turnbuckle.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much good footage of Phil Hickerson we could pull from all these 80s Memphis shows. I mean, we're using a lot of the stuff that was already clipped. I actually had to find the whole show and clip this out of it. But, you know, we'll show some more Phil Hickerson stuff in the future. That's another thing I kind of want us to do with some of these live from the archives at different times is kind of focus on different people.
Yeah.
Watch a few of their matches, watch a few of their promos over a whole period of their career.
There he goes. He's got the gimmick now.
Got the chain.
That's no Don Bass gimmick, by God.
That's the real deal there. Gary Young. Boom.
So Gary Young, when he does the dress gimmick in Dallas against Eric Embry, that's some funny shit too. So I can't ever see Gary Young without seeing him in that dress, because I thought it was a real woman. I thought she's huge because she walked past me. I thought she's really tall. I mean, you know, just right there, because the sportatorium where the aisles were, you were close.
Yeah.
All right. So you said you know the story about Hickerson. Cornette tells it best. I'm going to play that. Listen, credit for this definitely goes to Steve Austin's podcast and to Cornette's podcast. So
play my podcast, kid.
Well,
what?
I got kayfabe told me I could. She's dead. All right, here we go. Listen to this.
Dennis Condry, unbelievably enough, because Phil trusted him, was able to convince Phil that it would be a wonderful rib, because Tojo was homophobic, if in Louisville, you remember when you came back to the locker room, you had to come downstairs, you had to turn right and go in one of those rooms. If when Tojo came back from the ring, that Phil would be down on his knees in front of Dennis, and Dennis would have his trunks down, and it would be just like that Tojo had caught Phil about to go down on Dennis Condry, and he would validate all the things that he had thought about them because of their bleach blonde hair and the way they acted in the ring. Phil went along with this. So they've got somebody watching for when Tojo's coming. And they get the word, and Phil is down on his knees in front of Dennis, and Dennis even added to it right at the end. He said, have your mouth way open, right? You're just about to take it in. And Phil's like, okay. And so Phil's down on his knees with his mouth wide open. Dennis has his trunks down, standing in front of him. And, of course, Phil is looking to the side, right? Like, so he can see Tojo's face when Tojo comes in and catches this alleged scene. And right as Tojo came around the corner, Dennis grabbed the back of Phil's head and shoved his dick all the way down his throat. And he said his tongue felt like sandpaper. And Phil came up off his knees and chased Dennis out the back of the Louisville Gardens, down the street, down Armitage Place, turned right on 3rd Street, didn't speak to him for 3 or 4 days. And it remains one of the classic examples of the double reverse rib in history of wrestling, where the person that got ribbed was actually in on the rib to rib someone else until the rib turned. And of course, Tojo didn't know what to think. He didn't know what to think about the whole thing, but it was, you know, that's the kind of
that's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard in my life.
You know, the thing is, you had to do that shit. You were on the road every day, all the time in those days.
Yeah, I know. It gets rough on the road and you get stressed out, but shoving your dick down another man's mouth as a rib goes, that's kind of pushing the limits.
We scared.
That was absolutely fabulous.
Only Dennis Condry could have got away with that. I'm sure Austin's thinking, yeah, if Pillman would have done it to me, I would have murdered him.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, for somebody like me, who I don't really discover till much later in life that there's a whole nother Midnight Express outside of the Midnight Express. You understand what I'm saying? Not just saying Randy Rose and Dennis Condry, but before that, there's Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condry. And they were, well, it's kind of like Wayne Ferris and Moondog Spot as the Blonde Bombers. I mean, dude, that is some Larry. I mean, I'm telling you right now, you watch Larry Latham and Honky Tonk Man work, that's not the same Honky Tonk Man you see in the WWF.
No, not even close. Not even close. And, you know, then you figure Norvell Austin into the history of all that as well.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about Norvell right now on Continental.
I know. and how great he was. I'm trying to think as I was looking through. I was flipping back through some results this afternoon, trying to refresh my memory on some of these Phil Hickerson results, and I came across Bill Ash wrestling in 1976 against like Luthez or somebody, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like that's a big damn deal right there." So we may, we're having some fun watching his matches, and we're a little more impressed with him every time he steps in the ring in Continental. So we may do one of these live from the archives one night on Bill Ash, because there's a guy that don't get
That's the second time you've done it tonight, and I'm not gonna let you do it again. It's Bill Ash. If you're not adding the second Ash, it's not a legit deal.
I'm not announcing him. I'm just saying his name at random. There's a.
Hey, I'm gonna go. Here's one. Dennis Condry, Phil Hickerson, Tojo Yamamoto, Bill Dundee.
Bill Dundee kicked off of there by Phil.
There.
Is Dundee, who has been rattled around in pretty good fashion by the champions, Condry and Hickerson. Reversed it with a flying press off the turnbuckle. But he needs in the desperate way to get a tag on Tojo Yamamoto right now. Oh, the big elbow from Condry. Condry sensing a victory. Is hurled off.
You call him Maxi Pad, you'll get some heat.
Referee Jerry Calhoun.
Oh.
Big broad arm by Phil Hickerson. There's a tag on Tojo. The referee still down. Tojo nails Condry, nails Hickerson.
Now that story we just heard, I think happened around this time frame.
Yeah, seems like that would be likely.
Yamamoto with Condry into it. Puts him down.
Going through results now, I'll tell you,
Tags Bill Dundee.
Tommy Rich tagged with Tojo a lot against Condry and Hickerson. And then Tommy and Bill Dundee tagged a lot against Condry and Hickerson.
Right.
Bill Dundee, Tojo Yamamoto have won the NWA Southern Tag Championship.
You're with the NWA at that point.
They would hold those titles 9 times.
Remains in Yamamoto and Dundee's possession, and once again, Billy Dundee and Tojo Yamamoto are co-holders of the title.
Dundee loved tagging with Tojo, which is actually an inch or two taller than Tojo.
Yeah.
But this is the
rare
first time that Dundee and Yamamoto having themselves captured the NWA Southern Tag Championship.
Bye-bye!
Big Ben and Yamamoto and Dundee have upset Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condry.
In there.
The time, 25
Dundee
minutes,
was all hair.
25 seconds, 24-25. Dundee and Yamamoto, the champions. This is Lance Russell from the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum.
Now, this is not relevant to Phil Hickerson, but you kind of pointed it out earlier, and I picked up on this back when we were doing the 93 USWA. But Corey Macklin's constant in there was like his attempt to try to sound like Lance Russell, because Lance Russell did say in there quite a bit, not to the exaggerated extent that Corey would do it, but I'm 100% convinced that was why Corey did that, was like his attempt at trying to announce like Lance Russell. Do you agree with that, or you think I'm way off base there?
I don't think you're off base. I mean, sure, I can see that, because Corey, that was probably Corey's idol, right? For announcing.
I would think so. He grew up in the Memphis area, so yeah, he grew up on Lance.
Everybody grew up on Lance, right?
Yeah. And more or less got to take his spot.
What's sad nowadays, though, is if you took, I'm just throwing numbers out there, folks. Listen, don't be putting shit. I'm just throwing numbers out there, okay? These are arbitrary and bullshit. if you took 50% of wrestling fans right now and you said, who is Phil Hickerson? They would say, who? Phil who? That's what's sad.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't even, if you're under 25, you probably don't know who Bruiser Brody is, you know, Stan Hansen, you know, because.
Well, I mean, you look at this recent controversy on Facebook of who's Wolfie D. He's before my generation, and there was this big argument of whether he really didn't know him or he was just acting like he didn't know him to diss Wolfie D or whatever. But odds are, if somebody was said Phil Hickerson, somebody of a certain age, they're not. I mean, it's not their fault. How would they know who Phil Hickerson was?
Yeah, but I mean, when I was 12, I knew who Frank Gotch was.
Yeah,
when I was 12, I knew who Lou Threz was because the magazine smartened me up.
Yeah, and you actively sought that out. There was a respect and reverence for the past, the business's past back then. But I think this is one of those things you can kind of lay blame on Vince McMahon for to some degree. There came a time where wrestling didn't acknowledge its past. It would intentionally ignore the past. We sell WrestleMania 3 by saying this is the first time Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant have ever faced off. They wrestled at fucking Shea Stadium on a WWF show at Shea Stadium. That's the first time Andre the Giant's ever been slammed. Harley Race had slammed him. Ronnie Garvin had slammed him. I mean, there's a laundry list of people, So when they decided they want to start rewriting history, we had to start ignoring history. And that's just kind of held on, through the years.
Well, Phil Hickerson helped to fill this building up on Monday nights. And I did not know him. You did not know him personally, but his impact on our childhoods is felt. His impact on our wrestling fandom is ingrained. And our condolences from all of Jackson Media Creations and hopefully all of our friends. Our condolences to the Hickerson family, if like they'll ever see this. But if they do, I have nothing bad to say about Phil Hickerson. I love me some PY Chu-Hi though, and I didn't really want to get into that yet because I'm going to get into it and I want to evolve that angle a little bit. But if you get a chance to look at the PY Chu-Hi stuff, absolutely do so. Let me say something else. I don't know how many people watch this live. I know more people watch the restream and watch it, as they can, because we're coming on late at night. It's already 10:30. I can't believe there's people that have stuck with us this long, but we're going to wrap it up with this. And that is, I saw a post today on one of the forums there on Facebook that said that, we lost a Memphis legend and said, hey, if you're going to be disrespectful here, you're going to get blah, blah, blah. If you're going to listen to our stuff or get on our stuff or get on our pages or anything, we welcome everybody that are Memphis wrestling fans or Continental fans or Portland fans, world-class fans. We don't care, but here's the deal, man. None of us get paid to do this shit, and we do it to have fun and have a good time and educate you a little bit and educate ourselves in the research that we do. And so being disrespectful, especially when we've just lost a legend, being disrespectful about him and or about his career, even if you didn't like him, he's playing a part, man. You didn't know Phil Hickerson. You knew what you saw on TV and what the booker told them to go do, whether that was being babyface or heel. And if you don't like them, then they did their job. I'm not the type of person that would, do something like that. But for people to do that, and I saw your comment, Gene, where you said it's pretty sad that a post like that even had to be made. I'm just asking, don't do it on any of our channels because we're not going to put up with that. Be respectful. And Phil Hickerson did more for this business than he did not do for this business. So that's my rant.
I'll add to that quickly. There's going to be somebody watching this at some point or listening to it that's going to go, well, yeah, but like y'all do that. Yeah, you're making fun of Billy Travis. He's dead. Like it's all
total respect.
It's a totally different deal.
He just passed away. Like, we're not going to be doing a Phil Hickerson imitation in the next 2 years.
Yeah. 3 years, maybe, but it's all in fun. People who know us and have followed us and what we do, they know we respect all of these people.
Billy knows.
No matter what we say
a long time. Yeah.
And so, and there's always a balance there. You're going to notice that you're never going to see everybody with Jackson Media Creations dunking on a guy at the same time, and that's by design. If I almost said if Tojo, I see your name on the screen. If Rob and Chad are dumping on Billy Travis, then Gene and Brian are going to be taking up for him. And if Gene and Rob are making fun of Jimmy Valiant, then Josh and Brian are going to be taking up for him. It's all in fun, folks.
I want you to
don't get carried away.
I want you to look at my phone. This is real business. I don't think I'm giving away anybody's phone numbers here. Yeah, I want you to look at the top one that was called today. The last call I had, right, is Chad Anderson at 7:02 p.m., right?
Yeah.
Do you know what Chad tells me?
What'd he tell you?
He just got I'm a Billy Joe Travis guy shirt.
Hell yeah.
No hell yeah. It means he turned.
Nah.
He's pulling a Phil Hickerson.
I bet he's gonna put a big line through it or something. It's a swerve. No,
I don't know, man. I think he's coming over to your side, kind of like Hickerson, Lawler, all that right there.
That's what I'm saying. Hickerson was playing Lawler in the long game, so I'm not just gonna welcome him with open arms just yet and get that knife in my back. And anyway, we won't go there right now. But I do want to say this: for more on Phil Hickerson, I invite you to check out Dangerous Conversations. Doug and Tommy were two guys who worked a lot with Phil, know a lot about him, have just a ton of respect for him, a ton of great stories and a lot of fun stories, a lot of great memories of him. So check that out. I'll also be doing like an audio thing on Patreon. It's going to be free. There you go. Zombie Fried 13. Right on. I agree with that 100%.
I'll be doing it. You know what? Hang on. We're going to no, you know what? You're shilling. Zombie
shilling. I'm not selling it. I'm going to say it's going to be free on Patreon.
Free.
I'm going to give a long history of detailed history of Phil Hickerson's career. And if you want to hear that, check it out. And if you don't, then you can listen to Rob argue with people on YouTube. Go ahead.
I'm not arguing with him.
Argue with him on YouTube.
Rob's opinion still sucks about Billy Joe Travis. You know what?
Very true.
Oh, absolutely, Zombie. Zombie doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have any. I mean, look at this guy. Look.
He's a Gene Simmons fan. I bet he knows who Wolfie D is because Wolfie D's a big fan of Gene Simmons. I'm a fan of Gene Simmons.
Is he a real wrestler?
Hey, here's something. Here's a fun fact.
Okay.
My wife's maiden name, Rose Simmons. If I'd have been one of these new age sissy guys and took on her last name, I'd have been Gene Simmons right now. But I'm 48. I'm not one of these geeks. So there you go. See, I know what's up. I know.
So I remember. You know what's so sad. And I'm going to get out of this. And obviously Phil Hickerson was a music fan, being a DJ and being in radio and stuff. I remember when I was a kid. Tell me if you remember this. When I was a kid, I remember two music groups that my mother would not let me listen to in 1985. One was WASP because it stood for We Are Satan's People. Allegedly. And the other one was KISS because it was Knights in Satan's Service. And now that I listen to KISS and their music, I'm like, this is just a glorified 80s hair band in the 70s, but they were really good. Yeah. They were really good. And so it's do you remember hearing those rumors, Gene?
Oh, dude, they played a propaganda video at church one Wednesday night. It was an hour-long video that explained that KISS stood for Knights in Satan's Service. That's the WASP for We Are Satan's People. They had the gimmick where they're playing the records backwards,
and it would say stuff.
Yes, all that. Try to completely brainwash us and turn us against all our music. So I guess so we could go listen to, I don't even know the name of any of the Christian bands at the time, but
Well, that's the thing
didn't
is
work.
like that's what we're getting that podcast together. We're talking, guys. We're talking about an 80s podcast. Well, Gene, I appreciate you going on with me tonight. I thought we owed it to Phil. He gave us a lot of memories and fun stuff throughout the years. We should do one little show for him. Thank you to everybody that's been hanging around. Zombie, Azan, Paula. I don't know how to say it.
And whoever else didn't
whoever else
in the comments, and whoever hears this in the future, be it this week, next week, or 20 years from now, thank you for listening. Thank you for appreciating Phil Hickerson like we do. And join Rob. I'll probably be here this time around as well. Join Rob Friday night for Live from the Archive, Arc of an Angle. It's going to be kicking off a series that I'm so flipping excited about. It's going to be not only a lot of fun, but it's going to be very informative. And hey, this isn't going to be like theories. This is going to be from a guy who was in the sportatorium for every bit of this. And he's going to tell you not what he feels like in 2026. He's going to tell you how he felt as a young man sitting there in that sportatorium witnessing this stuff happen.
I didn't miss but 2 shows during the entire angle. I only missed 2 shows during the entire 30-week run of this thing. It was good stuff. Hey, do I remember? Somebody said, remember Hell's Bells, the dangers of rock and roll. Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
That was like Quiet Riot, man. Who what was it? It was Missing Link that had Bang Your Head.
Yes.
So I heard it as his wrestling intro first time I heard it. Just like Another One Bites the Dust. First time I ever heard that was when Junkyard Dog came out to it on TV. And doom, doom, doom. I'm like, that's badass. And then I heard Bang Your Head. Dude, it was, I think I had to have my grandma get that tape for me at like Kmart. And then I had to sneak it into my room. I was all kinds of crazy. Yeah, my parents were going to have no part of that.
Folks,
with that said,
we're going to be doing an 80s podcast before long for all the people like us who remember you couldn't just go on your phone or go on your computer and download one song. If your wrestler's favorite song was on an album, you had to either A, if it was a current song that was played on the radio, try to catch it on the radio and record it without the DJ talking over the beginning or the end like an asshole, or you had to go to the tape store and buy the whole damn cassette.
Or I was even doing 45 records, of course, back then.
Sure.
And so you had to go get the 45 somewhere. You know, it was a whole crazy gimmick, man. It was all crazy back then, but god damn, I miss it. So with that said, Gino, take us out of here.
Folks, thank you for supporting what we do here at the Retro Wrestling Archive. And hey, the best is yet to come. Stick with us because you're going to really, really, really love a lot of the things we have coming your way. See you Friday night, 7 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube and Facebook.
In there.
Rob Helt, ladies and gentlemen.